I sat there on that couch and I said what I said. I said he put the boots to that girl.
Cassie Ventura didn't just open the floodgates on Diddy's empire. She might be the one to lock him away for good. During her powerful courtroom testimony this week, word is a bombshell voice note connected to Diddy was played for the jury. And according to insiders, what's on that recording is so damaging, it could completely dismantle his defense. There is a lot happening with this case. Let's get into it. Cassie Ventura and her lawsuit. Before we get into that wild voice note that just dropped in court, let's get y'all hip to who Cassie really is and how this whole situation popped off. Cassie Ventura ain't just Diddy's ex, like these basic media outlets trying to paint her. Shorty is her own boss with her own journey and grind. Born Cassandra Elizabeth Ventura on August 26, 1986 in New London, Connecticut, baby girl came up in a diverse household. Her pops, Roderick Ventura, is Filipino, and her mom, Stacy Hobson, is of African American, Mexican, and West Indian descent. That multicultural upbringing influenced her whole vibe, especially how she mixed in those original Filipino music sounds into some of her tracks. In her teen years, Cassie was getting it at the Williams School, a prep school on the Connecticut college campus where she was killing it both in class and on the field. By 14, Shorty was already stepping into the modeling world, showing up in local department store ads, Delia's catalog, and 17 magazine. The young queen was so fire she got signed with Wilhelmina Models, and later, One Management. But Cassie wasn't trying to just be eye candy. Influenced by producer Rockwilder, she started taking vocal lessons in modern ballet and got active in her school's performing arts program. After graduating high school in 2004, she bounced to New York City, still modeling while taking classes at the Broadway Dance Center. That's when her whole destiny switched up after getting discovered by music producer Ryan Leslie in late 2004. This discovery was the real come up when Leslie signed her to his Next Selection lifestyle group. Together, they cooked up the duet Kiss Me, which caught the attention of industry heavyweight Tommy Mottola. Mottola was feeling her vibe so much, he offered Cassie a management deal. Her breakout single, Me and You, written and produced by Leslie, dropped on April 25, 2006, and straight up blew up. The joint peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and pushed over 1 million in digital downloads. Cassie's self-titled album came through on August 8, 2006, through a collaboration between Leslie's Next Selection and Diddy's Bad Boy Records. The album hit number 4 on the Billboard 200 and moved 321,000 units in the US. Even though her follow-up single Long Way To Go didn't go as crazy as her first hit, Cassie kept dropping music throughout the late 2000s and early 2010s, including bangers like Official Girl featuring Lil Wayne and King of Hearts. This is where the business relationship with Diddy started getting blurry with the personal. What looked to everybody like a glamorous industry power couple would later be exposed, according to them allegations in her lawsuit, as something way more sinister than anybody realized. In November 2023, Cassie Ventura filed a lawsuit that had the whole industry shook. Made possible by the New York Adult Survivors Act, she came at Diddy with accusations of physical abuse and sex trafficking over their decade-long situationship. The lawsuit painted a straight-up disturbing picture of their dynamics. While they were flexing at fashion shows, award ceremonies, and Hollywood events, giving off major power couple vibes, Cassie alleges that behind closed doors, Combs was controlling her whole existence, from her crib and her fits to her medical records. She claims he put her on to excessive alcohol and drug use, pressured her into the relationship because she was scared of professional payback, and subjected her to physical and sexual. The 18-year age gap between them, plus Combs being her boss at the label, created what Cassie described as a power imbalance that had her feeling trapped. According to the lawsuit, Diddy's crew allegedly witnessed the abuse but didn't step in, creating what she called a culture of fear. Among the most wild allegations were claims of events Cassie described as days-long drug-fueled sex parties, where she was allegedly forced under threats and given drugs to check out mentally. She claims Diddy made her get down with male sex workers during these events, which he allegedly organized, directed, and recorded like some twisted director. The lawsuit also detailed physical violence, with Cassie claiming Combs regularly beat her savagely, leaving her with bruises that had her hiding in hotels for days. She specifically mentioned an incident in 2016 at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles where Diddy allegedly punched her and gave her a black eye. What makes this case extra valid is that surveillance footage from March 5, 2016, dropped by CNN in May 2024, seemed to back up her story. The video showed Combs grabbing, pushing, kicking, and dragging Cassie in a hotel hallway, plus throwing glass vases at her as she tried to bounce. Word is, Combs allegedly paid $50,000 to the hotel to keep that footage on lock. Other witnesses, like makeup artist Mila Morales, have stepped up claiming they saw Combs beat Cassie in a hotel room in 2010. Designer Brianna Bana Bongolan alleged she peeped Cassie with bruises and a black eye from Combs' abuse.
What did you see?
She was not in, obviously she was not, she was like badly beaten.
Bruises?
Bruises, you know, just all, I mean, knots on the head, you know, black eye, everything.
Cassie's lawsuit highlighted the emotional and psychological damage from the alleged abuse. She said she had suicidal thoughts connected to the abuse, even needing inpatient rehab at one point. Court docs say she's still getting medical and psychological care for the trauma. Combs' attorney, Ben Brafman, initially denied everything, calling the allegations offensive and outrageous, and accusing Cassie of trying to shake Diddy down for $30 million to not drop a book about their relationship. But just one day after filing on November 17, 2023, the lawsuit got settled out of court to mutual satisfaction, with terms kept on the low. Diddy's team claimed the settlement wasn't an admission of guilt, but the damage was already done. Cassie's lawsuit sparked at least 9 other civil lawsuits against Combs, all alleging similar patterns of sexual and physical abuse. It also got the feds involved, with the Department of Homeland Security launching an investigation focusing on human trafficking and sexual assault, leading to raids on Combs' cribs in March 2024. The 2016 hotel surveillance video that CNN put out had public opinion turning on Diddy real quick. His apology on the Instagram in May 2024, where he admitted his behavior was inexcusable and claimed he got therapy and rehab, was called out by Cassie's attorney as fake AF. Now, in May 2025, Diddy is facing the biggest legal battle of his life, a full-blown federal criminal trial. He was booked back in September 2024 on charges including racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation for prostitution. Then in April, prosecutors turned up the heat with a revised indictment, adding new charges tied to a second victim. But the real turning point, Cassie. She officially took the stand under her government name as Victim 1, and the testimony she gave, it rocked the room. Cassie laid it all out. Years of abuse, control, and humiliation. She spoke on being beaten, stomped out, dragged, and forced into Diddy's drug-fueled freak-offs with other people in the room. Her voice cracked as she relived it, and for a moment, the courtroom fell dead silent. She talked about how Diddy ran her life like a prison, telling her who she could talk to, where she could go, and what she could wear. And just to make sure she stayed quiet, he allegedly recorded everything and used those tapes as threats. What Cassie delivered wasn't just testimony, it was a full breakdown of the world Diddy tried to keep hidden. This wasn't just abuse, it was psychological warfare, and it hit hard. Diddy's response, court proceedings, and the freak-offs. Now, we'll get into how Diddy been responding to all these allegations, what's popping in court, and the straight dirt on what the prosecutors calling them freak-offs. When Cassie first came through with that lawsuit in November 2023, Diddy's legal squad went hard in the paint. His attorney, Ben Brafman, denied everything, calling the allegations offensive and outrageous, and even had the audacity to claim Cassie was trying to shake Diddy down for $30 million not to drop a tell-all book. This aggressive defense strategy seemed to work at first, since the lawsuit got settled out of court just one day after filing on November 17, 2023. But the whole game flipped when more people came out to expose Diddy. In court, Combs has pleaded not guilty to all the charges, and his defense team keeps trying to challenge the evidence, including questioning if the hotel video is even legit. One of the wildest parts of Combs' defense strategy is this mutual violence claim about their relationship. His defense squad, led by attorney Mark Agnifilo, is planning to argue that Cassie was also putting hands on Combs.
And he's going to clear his name, and we're going to stand by his side as he does. We believe in him wholeheartedly. He didn't do these things. This was a 10-year relationship. There's no coercion. There's no crime.
This approach got mad criticism, and the judge will decide if they can even use that angle on May 12, 2025. Cassie's attorney ain't even dignifying them claims with a response. The trial, expected to run for about 8 weeks, probably won't be on TV, and jury selection been a headache because the case is so high profile. The federal indictment against Combs claims he used his entertainment empire to force people into sexual acts, with Cassie named as one of 3 victims. A key witness in the case, Courtney Burgess, has made some wild claims about videos he allegedly peeped on flash drives. In a recorded interview, when asked about whether there were cameras in private places like bathrooms, Burgess stated,
"Were there any cameras in places where you'd assume privacy, like bathrooms?"
Well, I've never been in this house, but the picture, yes. That's where it took place.
When asked about celebrities in videos with Combs, Burgess made disturbing claims about their condition and age.
All of them.
Out of those 8, how many appear to be potentially victimized? How many might have been victimizing?
I think all.
Even more disturbing when asked how many seemed to be potentially minors.
And of those 8, how many seemed to be potentially minors?
2 to 3, possibly 3.
According to the federal indictment, Sean Diddy Combs has been accused of hosting exclusive extravagant parties known as freak-offs. These gatherings allegedly involved all kinds of grimy activities like drug use, forced sexual acts, and in some cases, minors being present. The indictment describes these as drug-fueled, days-long functions often held at his mansions in Los Angeles, the Hamptons, and Miami Beach, or in luxury hotel suites. The allegations claim that Combs used his clout, along with narcotics like ketamine and ecstasy, to pressure participants, including sex workers, into extended sexual performances, which he allegedly recorded for blackmail purposes. That's some next-level foul play right there. The freak-offs reportedly went down after high-profile events, such as the 2004 and 2005 MTV Video Music Awards and Super Bowl XCI, transitioning from star-studded public parties to private, secretive gatherings.
Most of these events and incidents occurred at parties, typically after parties, or album release parties, New Year's Eve parties, 4th of July parties, something they called a puppy party, all-white party, although several of these events occurred at auditions. Many times, especially young people wanting to break into the industry, were coerced into this type of conduct.
Federal prosecutors allege that Combs' team facilitated these events by arranging travel, supplying drugs, and even providing IV fluids to help participants recover from the grueling ordeals. They was running it like a whole operation. The indictment notes the feds seized over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant during raids on Combs' cribs in March 2024, alongside drugs and other paraphernalia. That's a wild amount of supplies for somebody claiming innocence. Combs' former security chief, Gene Deal, has suggested that Diddy ain't taking legal advice to accept a plea deal.
Because if he think he's gonna get out of this from the federal government, he out his mind. They in the process of plea bargaining, trying to do a plea bargain session with him, and he not taking it.
Deal suggests that Diddy is turning down what might actually be a decent plea deal. The legal heat against Combs ain't just limited to Cassie's case. Texas attorney Tony Busby made headlines when he announced that his firm is repping 120 individuals who finna bring civil claims against Combs. The stats on these accusers shows how widespread this shit was. The lawyer said it split 50-50ths between males and females, with 60 of each stepping up as plaintiffs. Most of them, like 62%, are black folks, 30% white, and the rest Hispanic or Asian. These victims coming from more than 25 different states all over. The most messed up part, the ages of some of these victims be crazy young. The lawyer revealed their youngest victim was only 9 years old when it happened. They also got a 14-year-old and a 15-year-old victim in the mix. Out of all 120 plaintiffs, 25 of them were straight up minors when all this foul shit supposedly went down. According to Busby, this nasty behavior been going on for more than 3 decades. The lawyer explained that all this mess spans from 91 all the way to 2024. That's why there's so many alleged victims. We talking about a quarter century of this type of grimy activity. The lawyer broke down how victims got played too. He said typically, victims get lured into situations where they given drinks laced with something. Once that drink hits, the perpetrators allegedly do all kinds of sexual acts on them, often passing them around while others watch the whole scene.
If you will. Typically, the victim is lured into a situation where he or she is given a drink. Typically, that drink, reported by these victims, is apparently laced with something. Once that drink takes effect, perpetrators perform all kinds of sexual acts on the victims.
Then they leave the victims feeling ashamed, confused, and injured. If victims try to speak up, they get told to keep quiet through threats of violence, financial payback, or bodily harm. This shit is off the charts and shows Diddy's alleged behavior wasn't just with Cassie, but part of a much bigger pattern spanning decades. Brew was allegedly moving foul for 25 years straight. The trial bout to pop off with Cassie expected to testify as victim 1 using her government name. Other witnesses include a male sex worker and Cassie's friend who claims Diddy got violent with them too. Beyond the criminal charges, Diddy facing hella civil lawsuits that could cost him major bags and damages. His rep in the industry already in the toilet. All this got people asking serious questions about who else knew about this shit and why nobody spoke up. Makes you wonder if this case gonna bring real accountability or just get swept under the rug like all them other industry scandals. Celebrity involvement and the future of the case. The big question about which famous faces were involved in, knew about, or maybe even victims of Combs' alleged freak-offs got everybody talking. Mad celebrities been linked to Diddy's parties over the years, especially his white parties, which were straight legendary in the 90s and 2000s. These functions had A-listers like Leonardo DiCaprio, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Jennifer Lopez, Mariah Carey, Paris Hilton, Justin Bieber, Usher, Ashton Kutcher, and Nick Cannon, among others. But y'all gotta know the difference between Diddy's public parties and them alleged private freak-offs. Ain't no solid proof that these big names attended or even knew about the alleged freak-offs. For real, DiCaprio's people said he ain't been around Diddy since '98 and wasn't mixed up in any shady business. Same with Ray J, who hit up Diddy's parties but swears he never saw any freak-offs. And Nick Cannon talked about being at Diddy's functions in the late '90s, but denied seeing anything like them alleged orgies. The fact that almost none of Diddy's former celebrity homies, except Kanye West, are stepping up to defend him shows how this scandal hitting different. Most stars seem to be distancing themselves to protect their own brands, similar to what happened with Bill Cosby and R. Kelly when them allegations dropped. Attorney Tony Busby, who's representing over 120 alleged victims, has sent demand letters to celebrities who attended Diddy's parties. He's arguing that even if they didn't participate in illegal stuff, they could still be on the hook for not stepping in or reporting what they saw. These letters basically telling A-listers to settle out of court or catch a lawsuit, putting legal pressure on anybody who was ever at these functions, regardless of what they did. Busby's claims suggest that major figures, including politicians and athletes, were at some of these events. Posts on X, formerly Twitter, got people speculating about hidden camera footage of attendees, though nobody's confirmed if that's legit. Specific allegations have named people like NFL baller Odell Beckham Jr. and comedian Drusky as defendants in a 2025 civil lawsuit filed by Ashley Parham, though both of them deny doing anything wrong. Social media posts and media reports have also thrown out names like Howard Stern, Russell Brand, and Megan Fox, but there's no actual evidence connecting them to the freak-offs. Usher and Justin Bieber, who both came up under Diddy's mentorship, been mentioned because they were around him a lot. There's theories suggesting Bieber might have been exposed to inappropriate environments as a youngin', though his team has downplayed these concerns. In a resurfaced 2022 interview with Zane Lowe, Justin Bieber spoke about the trauma he faced in the music industry.
I just wanted to be a good example, and it was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they loved me and, just turn their back on you in a second.
While Bieber wasn't specifically calling out Diddy in this interview, old footage of Diddy with teenage Bieber has resurfaced, getting people talking. According to the word on the street, Bieber is focusing on his family and new baby instead of the allegations against Diddy. Another artist who's spoken about his experiences with Diddy is Usher, who was under Combs' wing as a teenager. In a clip that's making rounds, Usher describes how uncomfortable he was.
After being around that man, Sean Puffy Combs, I don't sleep to this day. I have a problem sleeping to this day. Like, yo, man, I'm here to work, man. I ain't sang in a week. I mean, I'm 13 years old, and I'm telling him, look, you're gonna put me in the studio, man. You got Biggie Smalls in there, you got Craig Mack in there. I'm not here to party with you.
While Diddy's legal squad insists the freak-off videos show consensual acts and no celebrity involvement, the ongoing investigation and upcoming trial might spill more tea about who knew what and who participated. For now, the allegations are a mix of verified court documents, unconfirmed claims, and wild speculation, with no celebrities formally charged in the criminal case. However, Tony Busby has hinted that future civil suits will name more defendants.
The day will come when we will name names other than Sean Combs, and there's a lot of names. It's a long list already. And of course, I already know who some of these individuals are, but the names that we're going to name, assuming that our investigators confirm and corroborate what we've been told, are names that will shock you.
Yo, real talk. Will this case actually bring any real consequences in the industry, or will the big money players just sweep this dirt under the rug? Arguments be hitting from both sides. For them who think shit's finally gonna change, the evidence looking mad strong. The federal indictment, that hotel beatdown video, and all them accusers make this case look too big to just disappear. Remember how Me Too took down heavyweights like Weinstein and R. Kelly? Same energy. Plus, when the feds come knocking, they ain't playing games. Federal prosecutors don't lose often, and they don't bring charges unless they know they got the goods. When Homeland Security raided Diddy's cribs back in March 2024, you know they found something serious. That 2016 hotel beatdown video already got the streets turned against Diddy. This ain't just he said, she said. People seen the footage with their own eyes, making it mad difficult to just brush off what everybody claiming. But on the flip tip, some folks pointing out how Hollywood been protecting its own forever. The industry cares more about stacking paper and connections than doing what's right, and Diddy got networks for days that might help him dodge this bullet. Some people also saying high-profile defendants like him can afford them shark lawyers who find all kinds of technicalities and create reasonable doubt to beat the case. The way Cassie's original lawsuit got settled quick might show how Diddy just throws money at problems till they disappear. Then there's the whole witness intimidation angle. Many victims probably shook about coming forward, especially with Diddy's alleged history of threats and payback. payback. If key witnesses get cold feet about testifying, the whole case could crumble. All that talk about Diddy's parties shows a bigger problem with power in the industry, where money and clout can hide foul behavior until it blows up. But we can't just be naming celebs without proof, since just showing up at Diddy's public events don't make somebody guilty by association. Diddy and Cassie's relationship, which looked like some power couple goals on the gram, was supposedly full of abuse, control, and manipulation according to her 2023 lawsuit and that hotel video from 2016. Their story, now front and center in Diddy's federal case, highlights bigger issues about power, accountability, and how survivors fighting back in the entertainment world. Cassie's decision to testify using her government name in May 2025 shows she ain't backing down and ready to take control of her story, while Diddy fighting for his freedom with everybody watching. As this case moves forward, it might change the game on how the industry handles abuse allegations. So do y'all think this case gonna make real change in how Hollywood deals with power and abuse, or will it just fade out like every other scandal before it?
Breaking news, the Department of Homeland Security has just confirmed to CNN that federal law enforcement agents have raided properties owned by musician and producer Sean Diddy Combs.
It seems trouble has set up camp on Diddy's doorstep, with not one, not two, but a whopping 5 lawsuits knocking on his door in just 5 months.
Now to the latest legal drama involving rapper and music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. A new lawsuit filed by a producer and videographer.
Sean Diddy Combs is facing new allegations of sexual assault. This time, a woman claims the rapper drugged and sexually assaulted her in New York City back in 1991.
Talk about a legal limbo. And if that's not enough drama for you, federal agents decided to join the party by raiding 2 of his properties in LA and Miami. These raids aren't just raising eyebrows, they're raising the roof on Diddy's house of controversies.
Certainly, these Homeland Security officers were looking for evidence of crimes. So for example, P. Diddy has been accused of sex trafficking. He's also been accused of non-consensual pornography.
The rumor mill is spinning faster than a DJ's turntable at a rooftop party. What went down in those raids? Was it a case of mistaken identity or a Hollywood heist worthy of its own screenplay? Find out all the details in this video. House raids. Let's start by taking a closer look at the dramatic events that unfolded at Diddy's Los Angeles area home. The scene was nothing short of chaotic as law enforcement descended upon the property with a force that seemed straight out of a Hollywood blockbuster. An exclusive report obtained by TMZ shows the entire area surrounding Diddy's home shut down, with helicopters swirling overhead and a multitude of police officers on the ground. The sheer scale of the operation was mind-boggling. Reports indicate that the raid was led by agents from Homeland Security Investigations New York, with assistance from HSI Los Angeles and HSI Miami, along with local law enforcement partners. The involvement of federal agencies only adds to the gravity of the situation. Law enforcement sources have revealed that the Southern District of New York is handling this case, and it appears to be connected to sex trafficking allegations that have been leveled against Diddy in recent months by multiple people. These allegations have cast a dark shadow over the music mogul's reputation and have now led to this high-stakes raid. As the helicopters swarmed above, armed agents were seen on the ground, moving swiftly and purposefully. The intensity of the situation was evident as law enforcement officers combed through the property, searching for evidence related to the allegations. In a shocking twist, video footage posted by Fox showed several individuals in handcuffs near the property. To the astonishment of many, 2 of them appeared to be Diddy's own sons, Justin and King Combs. But the drama didn't end there. Additional footage obtained by TMZ revealed that federal agents had even arrived at Diddy's property via water. Armed agents were seen standing on a boat, ready to assist in the raid. The level of preparation and coordination displayed by law enforcement was truly remarkable. Meanwhile, in the front of the house, people were being questioned, adding to the air of mystery surrounding the investigation. The identities of these individuals and their connection to Diddy and the alleged crimes remain unknown, leaving the public hungry for answers. While the chaos unfolded on the West Coast, federal agents also descended upon Diddy's luxurious Miami residence. Local law enforcement worked in tandem with Homeland Security Investigations to execute the operation. Just like in Los Angeles, law enforcement officers were seen walking through the house with guns drawn. The gravity of the situation was evident as they searched for any evidence that could shed light on the alleged sex trafficking activities. Simultaneously, federal authorities were present at the Florida property. The synchronized raids on both coasts of America only served to emphasize the seriousness of the allegations against Diddy. Law enforcement sources have revealed that Diddy was in the Miami area when the raids were taking place. This revelation raises questions about his potential involvement in the alleged activities under investigation. Was he aware aware of what was happening in his own homes, or was he caught off guard by the sudden and dramatic turn of events? As the raid unfolded, investigators seized Diddy's phones. The exact number of devices or phones seized remains unclear, but this action suggests that law enforcement is leaving no stone unturned in their pursuit of evidence. What information could be contained within those devices? Could it provide crucial evidence to support the allegations? The involvement of federal agencies, the presence of armed law enforcement personnel, and the simultaneous raids on both coasts have left the public in a state of shock. The magnitude of the investigation and the potential implications for Diddy's reputation and career cannot be overstated. The Homeland Security Investigations New York confirmed the raid in a statement, emphasizing that it was part of an ongoing investigation. HSI Los Angeles, HSI Miami, and local law enforcement partners all played a crucial role in executing the operation. The statement provided little detail, leaving the public hungry for more information about the allegations and the potential consequences for Diddy. Diddy was later questioned at a private airport in Miami. He showed up at Miami Opa-locka Executive Airport around 6 p.m. Diddy was seen walking around nervously after being questioned by customs agents. However, as of Monday evening, he was still a free man. At his California home, a neighbor spoke to Daily Mail about the wild parties at Diddy's mansion. Ryan Mendelsohn, who lives nearby, described seeing many beautiful women being brought to the house late at night. He mentioned seeing fancy cars and girls in swimsuits arriving between 1 and 3 a.m. Mendelsohn assumed these were women coming to a famous man's after party following a night out in LA. He's never personally seen Diddy with women, but after the charges and the raid, he thinks it's more suspicious. About a month ago, on a Saturday, there were a lot of SUVs dropping people off along the street. He mentioned that parties happen in the neighborhood not just on weekends, but all week long. Even on a Tuesday night in Beverly Hills, there's a party happening from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. He thinks these parties often lead to bad outcomes. During the raids on Monday, a sightseeing bus drove by the mansion, and people took photos and asked the media for information, creating a typical Hollywood scene. While we wait for more information, let's look at the sexual assault lawsuits filed against Diddy in the past months. Let's start by diving deep into the explosive lawsuit filed by R&B singer Cassie Diddy. To understand the gravity of the situation, let's take a look at the timeline and key events that led up to Cassie's courageous decision to take legal action against Diddy. It all began in 2005 when Cassie first crossed paths with Diddy. At the time, she was just 19, and in 2006, Diddy expressed romantic interest in her. According to the lawsuit, Diddy lured Cassie into what she initially perceived as a fatherly, protective relationship. However, she soon found herself trapped in an unequal and violent sexual relationship. As Cassie's star began to rise, Diddy's control over her life tightened. In 2007, she signed a deal with Diddy's record label, Bad Boy Records, which only served to intensify his grip on her. He allegedly exerted complete control over every aspect of her life, from her apartment to her car, clothing, and even her medical records. This level of control was designed to keep her under his thumb and ensure her compliance. The lawsuit alleges that Diddy's abusive behavior was witnessed by his staff and employees, yet no one dared to speak up against their frightening boss. Cassie, fearing the consequences of going to the police, suffered in silence. She believed that involving the authorities would only give Diddy another excuse to hurt her. In 2009, the abuse reached a horrifying peak. Diddy allegedly kicked Cassie repeatedly in the face, causing her to bleed. His staff then hid her away in a hotel room, shielding her from the outside world. But even in hiding, Diddy's vast network of corporations and affiliated entities found her. Those who worked for his companies implored her to return, going as far as to explicitly state that her failure to do so would hinder her success in the entertainment industry. Throughout her relationship with Diddy, Cassie suffered from memory loss due to copious substance use and experienced suicidal ideation. The court papers even mention an instance where MRI results went directly to Diddy, further showing his control over her life. The lawsuit takes an even more shocking turn when it reveals that Diddy forced Cassie to take part in what he called freak-offs. These were arrangements where she had no choice but to plan and engage in sex acts with male sex workers while he watched and filmed. These encounters took place in high-end hotels across the country and occurred as often as once a week. Cassie would delete videos shot on her phone, desperately trying to erase the evidence of these horrific encounters. But Diddy's control over her was so extensive that she was forced to watch footage she thought she had gotten rid of on a flight. In 2012, Diddy's alleged retaliation against rapper Kid Cudi, who briefly dated Cassie, came to light. The lawsuit claims that Diddy blew up Kid Cudi's car in his driveway as a form of revenge. Kid Cudi himself confirmed the account, stating that it was true. The final straw came in 2018, when Diddy allegedly forced his way into Cassie's home and raped her. Despite her repeated objections and attempts to push him away, he ignored her pleas. This traumatic incident led Cassie to finally leave him for good and sever her association with Bad Boy Records in 2019. Just one day after Cassie filed the lawsuit, a surprising turn of events occurred. Cassie and Diddy reached a settlement, choosing to resolve the matter amicably. The terms of the settlement were not disclosed to the public, leaving many curious about what led to this sudden resolution. By settling out of court, Diddy managed to avoid the potential release of damaging evidence during the legal discovery process. In a statement on November 18th, Diddy expressed his well wishes to Cassie and her family, stating, "I wish Cassie and her family all the best." Diddy's lawyer, Ben Brafman, stated that the settlement does not undermine Diddy's flat-out denial of the claims. He further clarified that the decision to settle was a mutual one, and Diddy was happy that they were able to reach a resolution. Cassie's civil suit was brought under the Adult Survivors Act. This New York law allows victims of sexual abuse who were 18 or older at the time of the abuse to bring cases within a one-year window after the expiration of any statutes of limitation. Cassie's decision to file the lawsuit and settle within this window allowed her to confront her abuser and hold him accountable for his actions. The music industry reacted strongly to the allegations against Diddy. Singer-songwriter Tiffany Red published an open letter in Rolling Stone, corroborating Cassie's claims and sharing her own experiences with Diddy's abusive behavior. Red revealed that she became close to Cassie in 2015 while writing an album that Diddy never released. She witnessed firsthand the verbal abuse Cassie endured at her 29th birthday party. She even saw Diddy drag a drugged Cassie to a freak-off in the middle of the night. 50 Cent wasted no time in responding to the settlement. He announced that he would be working on a documentary about Diddy's sexual assault allegations. In a tweet on December 7th, 50 Cent confirmed that the proceeds from the documentary, produced by G-Unit Film and Television, would go to victims of sexual assault and rape. The documentary aims to raise awareness about these issues and support those who have been affected. The music industry also saw a notable response from Cassie. She changed the lyrics of her chart-topping 2009 hit TikTok in response to the allegations against Diddy. The original lyrics opened with the line, "Wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy." But in a performance on November 19th, Cassie changed it to "Wake up in the morning feeling like me." This change was seen as a symbolic gesture of solidarity with Cassie and the victims of sexual abuse. Former Danity Kane member Aubrey O'Day, who was formed by Diddy on MTV's Making the Band in 2005, expressed her support for Cassie. She took to Twitter, stating that she had been trying to raise awareness about Diddy's behavior for some time. Dawn Richard, another former member of Danity Kane, also shared a message of support for Cassie, praying for her and her family's peace and healing. Other sexual assault lawsuits. Days after settling with Cassie, a second lawsuit was filed against Diddy. According to court documents obtained by USA Today, Dickerson Neal filed her complaint in Manhattan Supreme Court just a day before the New York State Adult Survivors Act expiration date. Dickerson Neal alleges that in 1991, when she was a college student at Syracuse University, she reluctantly agreed to have dinner with Diddy during a school break for the holidays. However, what was supposed to be a simple dinner turned into a nightmare for Dickerson Neal. During their date, Dickerson Neal claims that Diddy intentionally drugged her, rendering her physically unable to stand or walk independently. The lawsuit states that Diddy spiked her drink when she briefly left it unattended to use the restroom. After dinner, Diddy and Dickerson Neal continued to spend the night together. She recalls being taken to a music studio and then to Diddy's home, where the sexual assault allegedly took place. Despite feeling humiliated and hurt, Dickerson Neal found herself trapped and unable to escape the assault. The lawsuit further reveals a chilling detail. A male friend identified as Devontae Swing, a member of the R&B group Jodeci, allegedly revealed to Dickerson Neal that he had viewed a sex tape of the assault along with other men. When she asked who had seen the video, his response was simply, "Everyone." Diddy, through a spokesperson, denies the allegations, stating that Dickerson Neal's 32-year-old story is fabricated and lacks credibility. The spokesperson further claims that the lawsuit is nothing more than a money grab, asserting that Diddy never assaulted Dickerson Neal and that the companies implicated in the suit did not even exist at the time of the alleged assault. Despite Diddy's denial, Dickerson Neal's attorney, Jonathan Goldhirsch, stands firm in his client's claims. He emphasizes that the lawsuit was filed under the New York State Adult Survivors Act, which provides a one-year window for victims of sexual abuse to seek justice. Goldhirsch asserts that Dickerson Neal's decision to come forward is a courageous step towards holding Diddy accountable for his actions. The legal battle between Dickerson Neal and Diddy is ongoing. The lawsuit names Diddy, Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Records, and Diddy Enterprises as defendants. Blackburn asserts that his client's life has been irreparably damaged since he agreed to produce Diddy's album in August 2022. Lil Rod alleges that he was under an implied work-for-hire agreement with Diddy, which led him to live with the media mogul for extended periods in Los Angeles, New York City, Miami, and even on a yacht in the U.S. Virgin Islands. He said, "Throughout my time with Mr. Combs, I witnessed, experienced, and endured things that went far beyond my role as a producer on the Love album." Lil Rod describes himself as a heterosexual Christian man who claims to have been the victim of constant unsolicited and unauthorized groping groping and touching of his anus by Diddy. He expressed his discomfort with Diddy's advances to Diddy's chief of staff, who allegedly dismissed his concerns with the statement, "You know, Sean will be Sean." Blackburn goes as far as comparing Coram to Ghislaine Maxwell, the associate of Jeffrey Epstein. Lil Rod said, "I was uncomfortable with Mr. Combs' advances and I expressed my complaints, but it seemed like nobody cared." Lil Rod also alleges that Diddy attempted to groom him into engaging in homosexual acts with fellow producer Stephen Aaron Jordan, also known as Stevie J. In a shocking twist, Diddy promised to ensure that Lil Rod would win the Producer of the Year award at the Grammys if he engaged in homosexuality. But perhaps the most damning evidence in Lil Rod's possession is the alleged footage he obtained. Lil Rod claims to have captured people involved in sexual activity at Diddy's home, which he believes was recorded through hidden cameras scattered throughout Diddy's properties. As the scandal surrounding Diddy and Lil Rod continued to unfold, even more shocking allegations came to light. Lil Rod claims that he was not only a victim of Diddy's alleged misconduct, but also of sexual assault by a cousin or assistant of rapper Young Miami, who was romantically involved with Diddy. Additionally, Lil Rod alleges that he was sexually harassed and assaulted by Oscar winner Cuba Gooding Jr. Lil Rod further claims to have obtained footage of a rapper and an R&B singer engaging in inappropriate activities with underage girls and sex workers. The names of these individuals have been redacted from the complaint, leaving the public in suspense about their identities. However, perhaps the most alarming revelation is Lil Rod's assertion that Diddy possesses compromising footage of every person who has. Grab and unsubstantiated, these accusations cannot be ignored. The lawsuit not only names Diddy and Hall, but also includes MCA Music Entertainment Group and Geffen Records as defendants. A fourth lawsuit, filed in New York federal court, alleges that Diddy, along with former Bad Boy Entertainment president Harve Pierre, raped the accuser when she was a minor at the time. The shocking incident is said to have taken place in 2003 when the accuser was only 17 years old. The complaint also mentions a third unnamed assailant. According to the complaint, Diddy, who was 34 years old at the time, convinced the woman, referred to as Jane Doe, to fly from Detroit to New York City on his private jet. Once in the city, she was taken to Diddy's recording studio, where she claims to have been plied with drugs and alcohol to the point where she could not possibly have consented to any sexual activity. It is alleged that while at the studio, Jane Doe was subjected to a horrifying ordeal. She claims to have been gang raped by Diddy, the third assailant, and Harve Pierre in that order. The complaint even includes pictures of Jane Doe with Diddy at the recording studio. In response to the lawsuit, Diddy released a statement denying the allegations, stating that he did not commit any of the awful things being alleged. He expressed his frustration at the attempts to assassinate his character and destroy his reputation. A few months later, producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones came forward with his own shocking allegations against Diddy. In a bombshell lawsuit, Lil Rod accuses Diddy of sexual assault, illicit behavior, and even threats against his life. But that's not all. Lil Rod claims to have obtained incriminating footage that exposes Diddy and several of his associates engaged in these disturbing acts. Lil Rod, who played a pivotal role in producing Diddy's 2023 album, The Love Album Off the Grid, filed a federal lawsuit seeking a staggering $30 million in damages. The lawsuit names not only Diddy, but also his son Justin Dior Combs, Universal Music Group Chief Executive Lucian Charles Grange, former Motown Records Chief Executive Ethiopia Habtemariam, Chalice Recording Studios, Love Records, Combs Enterprises, and Diddy's Chief of Staff Christina KK Coram as defendants. According to Lil Rod, this extensive network of involvement amounts to a violation of the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO. Lil Rod's attorney, Tyrone A. Blackburn, asserts that his client's life has been irreparably damaged since he agreed to produce Diddy's album in August 2022. Lil Rod alleges that he was under an implied work-for-hire agreement with Diddy, which led him to live with the media mogul for extended periods in Los Angeles, New York City, Miami, and even on a yacht in the U.S. Virgin Islands. He said, "Throughout my time with Mr. Combs, I witnessed, experienced, and endured things that went far beyond my role as a producer on the Love album." Lil Rod describes himself as a heterosexual Christian man who claims to have been the victim of constant unsolicited and unauthorized groping and touching of his anus by Diddy. He expressed his discomfort with Diddy's advances to Diddy's chief of staff, who allegedly dismissed his concerns with the statement, "You know, Sean will be Sean." Blackburn goes as far as comparing Coram to Ghislaine Maxwell, the associate of Jeffrey Epstein. Lil Rod said, "I was uncomfortable with Mr. Combs' advances and I expressed my complaints, but it seemed like nobody cared." Lil Rod also alleges that Diddy attempted to groom him into engaging in homosexual acts with fellow producer Stephen Aaron Jordan, also known as Stevie J. In a shocking twist, Diddy promised to ensure that Lil Rod would win the Producer of the Year award at the Grammys if he engaged in homosexuality. But perhaps the most damning evidence in Lil Rod's possession is the alleged footage he obtained. Lil Rod claims to have captured people involved in sexual activity at Diddy's home, which he believes was recorded through hidden cameras scattered throughout Diddy's properties. parties. As the scandal surrounding Diddy and Lil Rod continued to unfold, even more shocking allegations came to light. Lil Rod claims that he was not only a victim of Diddy's alleged misconduct, but also of sexual assault by a cousin or assistant of rapper Young Miami, who was romantically involved with Diddy. Additionally, Lil Rod alleges that he was sexually harassed and assaulted by Oscar winner Cuba Gooding Jr. Lil Rod further claims to have obtained footage of a rapper and an R&B singer engaging in inappropriate activities with underage girls and sex workers. The names of these individuals have been redacted from the complaint, leaving the public in suspense about their identities. However, perhaps the most alarming revelation is Lil Rod's assertion that Diddy possesses compromising footage of every person who has attended his infamous parties. This treasure trove of evidence allegedly gives Diddy a sense of invincibility, as he believes he is above the law. In response to these explosive allegations, Diddy's attorney, Sean Hawley, has vehemently denied the claims, calling Lil Rod a liar and accusing him of seeking an undeserved payday. Hawley asserts that they have overwhelming proof that Lil Rod's claims are complete lies. Hawley further claims that their attempts to share this proof with Lil Rod's attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, have been ignored, as Blackburn refuses to return their calls. The legal battle between the two parties is set to unfold in court, with Diddy vowing to take all appropriate action against those who make these outlandish allegations. Let's explore how some of Sean Diddy Combs' previous legal troubles have played out. In 2010, Francesca Sparrow, a music executive in her 50s, filed a lawsuit against Diddy, alleging age discrimination. Sparrow had been a dedicated employee of Diddy since 1998, working tirelessly to contribute to his success. However, her loyalty and commitment were shattered when she was fired from her position. Sparrow claimed that her termination was solely based on her age. She alleged that Diddy and his company had engaged in age discrimination, depriving her of the opportunity to continue working for the mogul she had dedicated years of her life to. Diddy's legal representative argued that Sparrow's firing was a result of legitimate business decisions and performance-related issues. They maintained that age played no role in the decision-making process, emphasizing that Diddy valued diversity and inclusivity within his organization. After months of intense litigation, the parties involved finally reached a turning point. Diddy made the decision to settle the multi-million-dollar lawsuit in 2011, bringing an end to the legal dispute. The specific terms of the settlement were not publicly disclosed, leaving many to speculate about the financial implications for Diddy. Another recent lawsuit filed against Diddy is infamously known as the paparazzo assault lawsuit. On 2011 New Year's Eve, Gustavo Garces, armed with his camera, positioned himself outside the Dream Hotel in Miami. According to Garces, Diddy's bodyguards aggressively confronted him, forcibly preventing him from taking pictures. The situation quickly escalated into a physical altercation, with Garces finding himself on the receiving end of the bodyguard's aggression. Garces alleged that he was subjected to a brutal assault, enduring punches, kicks, and verbal abuse from Diddy's bodyguards. In the aftermath of the assault, Garces took a stand against the violence he experienced. He filed a lawsuit against Diddy, seeking justice for the harm inflicted upon him. Garces' attorney argued that the assault was unprovoked and unjustified. They maintained that Diddy's bodyguards had crossed the line, using excessive force to prevent Garces from doing his job as a paparazzo. The lawsuit sought to hold Diddy and his team accountable for their actions. After 6 years of legal proceedings, a settlement was finally reached in 2017. Gustavo Garces agreed to receive $35,000 in exchange for releasing Diddy, his bodyguards, and their insurance company from any further liability. In 2017, Cindy Rueda, a former personal chef for Diddy, came forward with allegations of sexual harassment and unfair working conditions. Cindy Rueda had the opportunity to work closely with Diddy in 2015. However, her experience took a dark turn when she claimed to have been subjected to sexual harassment and exploitative working conditions. Rueda alleged that Diddy made inappropriate comments and requests, creating a hostile work environment. She claimed that he once asked her to cook a post-coital meal, and even went as far as inquiring about her attraction to his naked body. Diddy's spokesperson swiftly responded to the allegations, denying Rueda's claims. They described her as a disgruntled ex-employee and dismissed her accusations as baseless. The spokesperson maintained that Diddy had always fostered a respectful and inclusive work environment. After a lengthy legal battle, Rueda and Diddy reached a settlement in 2019. The specific terms of the settlement were not publicly disclosed. In 2022, Raven Wales Walden, a former nanny working for Diddy, filed a wrongful termination lawsuit, alleging discrimination and retaliation. Wales Walden found herself entangled in a legal dispute with Diddy after what she claims was an unjust termination. Wales Walden alleged that she was wrongfully fired after disclosing her pregnancy in 2020, citing discrimination as the motive behind her dismissal. Adding another layer of complexity to the case, Wales Walden also asserted that she was the niece of Kim Porter, Diddy's former partner. She claimed that her familial connection to Porter played a role in the discrimination she faced and the subsequent termination. In a press conference, Wales Walden and her legal team spoke out against the alleged mistreatment she endured while working for Diddy. Diddy responded to the allegations, denying any wrongdoing. His spokesperson stated that Wales Walden was not related to Kim Porter and that her termination was based on legitimate reasons unrelated to her pregnancy. They labeled the lawsuit as a meritless shakedown to extort money from Diddy. The wrongful termination lawsuit filed by Raven Wales Walden against Diddy is currently ongoing in the Los Angeles County Superior Court. As of now, the court has yet to reach a verdict or settlement in the case. If you enjoyed this video, click on the card showing on your screen right now for more videos.